Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Mount Vernon Lee Chamber of Commerce for another Thursday at noon webinar. Today's webinar, Ready for 2021 with Dr. Kudarat Proctor, is a special opportunity to learn some strategies to help us cope with whatever comes in 2021. We know what 2020 was like. A year ago, none of us would have expected what the remainder of the year would be like. And I think the more we can learn about coping strategies, the better off we will all be. So we appreciate Dr. K coming and talking to us today. So these webinars are sponsored by Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. In collaboration with other jurisdictions in Northern Virginia, they've developed this new website, Work in Northern Virginia. So if you know anyone who was laid off because of the pandemic that might be looking to restart their career in a different industry, or someone that's transitioning to the area, this is a really good resource to see jobs that are available. And there are hundreds of jobs listed on this website. And I'd also like to recognize the Chamber's strategic partners. These are businesses that support the Chamber on a higher level, and we appreciate their support for the Chamber that make programs like these possible. So we've got a couple of great events coming up on the Chamber calendar. I just wanted to remind people of, we've got a networking event with the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce next week. And when the pandemic started, none of us wanted to do virtual networking because we all like to meet in person.
Right.
But we're finding that the virtual networking is actually a great way to meet people, and that you get a lot of, kind of FaceTime to introduce your business and to meet other businesses, and then you can make a personal follow-up with them later. And we've got the Economic Outlook coming up in 2 weeks. Some distinguished economists, Dr. Clower with George Mason University, Molly Bosell with CoreLogic, to come and give us an outlook on the housing market and kind of our regional economy. And then a special briefing on the new economic incentive program that Fairfax County has just rolled out. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Proctor, who we affectionately call Dr. K. Dr. K is her business is InTouch Wellness, and she's a medical doctor with a particular focus on human emotions, thoughts, and behavior. She has more than 10 years of experience working with individuals, couples, and groups to develop innovative curriculum that guides them towards mental and emotional wellness. And she is one of our favorite people here at the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Holly.
And just before Dr. K starts, I just want to remind everyone to mute your microphone so that there's no interference with the audio. And when she concludes her presentation, we'll take questions. You can put your mouse over the bottom of the screen, and the chat icon should come up. You can type a question into the chat, or when Dr. K's finished, you can ask a question and we'll try and get to as many questions as we can. But Dr. K, we will turn the time over to you, and thank you so much for being with us.
It's my pleasure, Holly. You know that I always love doing what I can for the commerce and for you. I just want to say good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank the commerce leadership, as Holly has also highlighted, and I want to thank Holly. She's always so great and so helpful and such a great support. So I just thank you, Holly, for this opportunity to do what I like to call my calling and purpose, right? Everyone has that, what you were going to do. Before everyone got on, I was telling Holly I had to eliminate several slides, so I may just need to come back and do another part, a couple parts here, a series of motivating us and inspiring us through this time. So Again, welcome each of you. This has been a challenging time, right? As we talk about the pandemic, today, my hope is that these things that I put together will help to be strategies for you of encouragement, of inspiration, and just a reminder that this too shall pass. This time shall pass. This is not how it ends for any of us. It be the pandemic or any personal challenge that you may be facing. So again, the title, Ready for 2021. We can advance the slide, Holly. Thank you so much. So as I was saying, we can go to the next slide, Holly. Thank you so much. So this is one of my most popular quotes that I love, and I use it for many of my slides, many of the presentations, excuse me, that I do, because it's just a reminder that even the darkest night will end and the sun always rises. So what I'm saying to you, a part of our perspective today, this is number one tool, is strategy. We must realize that no matter how dark it gets, no matter how challenging, how hard it gets, the sun is going to rise. That light is going to come through. And sometimes it gets so dark that we have to hold on to any sliver of light that we can. And I encourage you to do that, because that is one of the fundamentals of surviving a challenging time, of surviving a hard time, a difficult time. Next slide. Wonderful. So we're all ready, right? When we think about getting ready, this is number two strategy. It's important that we really take time to start our day. Oh, previous slide. Thank you. To start our day in a way that gets us going. When we talk about being ready, we're talking about our mental, right? Our physical. It's not just, I'm going to put this on, I'm going to do this. We don't want to get into all of autopilot about it. We want it to be something that gets our day started in an exciting way. So some suggestions I always like to give to people: put on that song that inspires you, that makes you dance. It may be a praise and worship song. For me, as a person of faith, that's some of those songs that I use to get me going, get my day started. So I encourage you all, as you have gotten prepared and ready for this, let's get ready for each day in a way that inspires us. Let's not barely roll out of bed. Although we feel that way sometimes, put on that song, For some people, get that coffee going, whatever it is, do it. Because when you are facing a challenging time, it's so important to have a routine that inspires you. So get that favorite song, get that routine going that gets you ready for the day. Next slide. So I'm all about imagery, and I think that different pictures can exude different emotions. So this is intended to be interactive, but I was going to ask you guys, what does this picture make you think, right? Right? It's a little scary. You're afraid for him, maybe a little anxiety. Is he going to make it, right? Looking at his shoes, he may make it actually. He looks pretty determined. But my point is that surround your environment and home and things around you, your office, with things that inspire you. For instance, I wanted to show this. My hope is that when we get off today, and I hope everyone can see this, this says believe. It's important the imagery we surround ourselves with. Ali and I were talking about this picture behind me, something coming, a beach, somewhere we want to go. We want to get an imagery of our happy place, right? So imagery is important, what we look at. So my goal today is not to make you feel whatever emotions this image brought up, right? Rush, and maybe even worry or anxiety. But it's to prove a point that what we look at and can influence us. So start your day off with something that feeds you and not something that's going to kind of get you anxious or worried. Next slide. Hello, I'm ready, right? Hello, I am ready. So if you could say that back to me, I probably can't hear you, but this is just a way to start our day. This is number 4 strategy as we talk about, ready for 2021. Getting ready for your day. And what I mean by that, showing up for yourself. So many times we put ourselves in the back burner. We barely get out of bed, rolling out of bed, right? Looking at the phone. Oh, goodness. Looking at all the notifications. We forget to show up for ourselves. Again, everything autopilot. You're barely there. Energy's low. So I'm encouraging you to do something different. If you're already doing it, that's awesome. Something I started doing some months ago that has really transformed my morning is I get up, I don't look at the phone. I don't touch it. I get up. I thank God that I woke up, first of all, because that's important to me. That's my faith. And I say, God, I want to show up for you. I go to the bathroom, stand in the mirror and say, I'm showing up for you today, Kudarat. And then you list the other things you're showing up for in your life. You're showing up for your family, your spouse, your children, your job, whatever it is, declaring it does something to your environment. It does something for you in our mind as well. There's power in what we say out of our mouth. So I try my best to catch myself from saying things like, this is going to be a crappy day, or, oh, goodness, this again. We want to start our day ready, feeding ourselves through declarations, through dancing, that favorite song, maybe even stretching, whatever you do, and be ready. So show up for yourself. Try that this next week and let me know how that goes for you. Every morning, getting up and saying, I'm showing up for you today. Saying your name when you say that. I'm showing up for you, Kudara. I'm showing up. And I thank you guys for showing up today for this good information. It's like food. I love inspiring and encouraging. So I hope you get some of that through this webinar. Next slide. Look at this. What do you feel? Peace, serenity, right? My happy place. Let me just stand there and just be there, right? So that's my goal today, to really get you to a place of just peace, happiness, and perspective. There's a difference of the emotions that come when you saw the previous slide of the 2 slides ago, right? So again, imagery, what we see. So you may not want to keep CNN going 24/7 in the house. I'm just saying, you might not want to do that. You might want to put on a comedy, and we'll talk a little bit about the importance of laughter. Put on something that calms you. Or if you don't want to watch anything, listen to relaxing music. Big, big soother, really big in mental and emotional wellness. Really great coping skill. Next slide. So ready for 2021. So the 4 represents our 4 seasons, right? And when we think about the 4 seasons, I really use it as an analogy to our life. It's not necessarily the number 4, but the idea that in life we're going to experience seasons, and every season comes with its situation. So this may be a season of difficult times. You may have faced a season of grief and loss of a job, of a business, of a family member, of a friend, of a coworker. But it's a season. Although those emotions are emotions that we need to allow ourselves to feel, because I do believe emotions are gifts and they kind of speak to where we are at. It's important to realize that this difficult season is not called to last for the rest of eternity. It's not called to last for the rest of your life. That time will end as well. There's an expiration date. And boy, do we wish it was sooner than later with this pandemic. And my hope is that it is. And whatever difficult season you're going to, know that pain is temporary and that it is a season, just like winter, spring, summer, and autumn. I'm not sure what your favorite season is, but spring for me. And that's why I wore this nice bright color. We're bringing in spring and summer and all of that energy. Hopefully no more snowstorms in this DMV area. But my point is that we all have our favorite seasons, and even those good seasons may not last as long as you would like them to. So appreciate every moment, every good thing in your life. Appreciate it, because it's not meant to last forever. That's reality, and you know that. So let us enjoy the good things in our life, the good times in our life, and weather through those difficult seasons. Next slide. All right, Thomas Edison. This says many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. So I'm going to ask you, how close were you to your success? Have you given up? I think Thomas Edison is a very great example, because it took him 10,000 prototypes, he said, to get what we know as the light bulb. 10,000. My point is that through your journey of success, and clients that I've worked with, people that I've worked with, no matter how successful they are, they've been through failure. We may not see that. You may not see that on the Instagram. No one's showing you their failed exam, or, they're not showing you their failure. Some people may be more transparent than others, but the point is, it's a journey. You're going to experience some sort of rejection and failure, but don't let it stop you. It's a part of the journey. So my hope is that your perspective about failing, maybe a business closing, or the dream crumbling in a way, it's not going to stop you from getting to your success. Because just like Thomas Edison, we need whatever it is you're called to do. We need your business to provide those services. We need you to write that book. We need you to start that blog. I need you to inspire me, because I'm always inspiring others. We need you. So don't allow any rejection, any failure to stop you. And I just want to thank my parents in this moment, because I just hear my mom, my dad always saying that to me as I journey through whatever place. Don't allow a bad moment, right, to determine the rest of your future. You're a winner. You're called for greatness, and success comes with some form of rejection or failure along the way. Keep going. Keep going. Next slide. Famous failures, just to prove my point. It's not just Thomas Edison or Dr. K just yabba, 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 just saying all these things. These are examples. Michael Jordan, Bill Gates, right? It says he was a Harvard University dropout, and his first business, it failed. But we know him as, right? We don't see the failures. We know him as his success. Michael Jordan, right? Cut. He was cut from his high school basketball team. Wow. But we glad he didn't stop, right? When you think about basketball, even till this day, even with the LeBron James and all those other new, amazing, greatest of all time athletes, he didn't stop, and he became one of the greatest of all time, and still is, right? So it's important. I also have the Colonel, right, from KFC. It says here more than 1,000 restaurants rejected him. Well, and another thing about the Colonel, he also was doing it in his later stage of life. So I always say to people, there's no excuse. You're never too old to go for that goal or dream or plan. You cannot allow age, your gender, your race, none of those things to stop your economic status, right? The fact you don't have a famous last name to stop you. When you have a dream, hold on to it. Hold on to it. Walk towards it. Walk towards it. We see here Abraham Lincoln. He failed. He faced many different setbacks, and I encourage you to read about his setbacks in his life, because it's just so inspiring. 7 times it says he failed in his campaigning before he became the president of the United States. So don't let failure stop you. Next slide. Trying to be mindful of time here. Wonderful. So Perspective, right? The way we see things, our point of view can really feed us or destroy us. How many of us know that that's true? Here we see someone seeing it as a 6 versus a 9. And yes, it may be because of the position they're in, but when I'm talking about perspective, I'm talking about what has your past experience informed you, right? Have you had, what has your childhood informed you? Have you been told that you wouldn't be anything, you wouldn't amount to anything, you're not smart, you're not pretty enough? Whatever it is, it can affect our perspective. So I'm encouraging you now to do some work on that. If your perspective is constantly, the glass is half empty, the glass is half empty. When we're in difficult times, it's especially pertinent that we begin to shift that and begin to see things in a different light. Because again, it can bring us up, bring us down. And down doesn't mean you're down and out for good, but it does take some time to get back up. Your perspective can keep you above water. And for some of us, our faith speaks to our perspective. I know that that's true for me. My faith tells me all things are possible. And no matter what, I can have hope. I can have hope. I can have hope. So your perspective is so important in this time, everyone. Let us inform our perspective. Let us be aware of our perspective. You know, if it's not positive, we got to start to dive in. We got to start to change that perspective by being inspired, reading inspirational things, reading inspirational books, declaring things into our own life, encouraging ourselves sometimes. Sometimes we have to encourage ourselves. There's so much positivity and encouragement out there. I just encourage you, choose one and start feeding that rather than negative things. Next slide. Again, this is just telling me we're about a third the way, just to relax, peace. This is what this is about. I hope you're getting something. And when we're in this place of peace, our brain, our mind can begin to form some wonderful, beautiful memories, right? So I just want things that we've said to kind of settle. Using this imagery for that. Imagery is so powerful. Even as I sit and look at it, I'm just feeling even more relaxed. If there's any nerves in me, it's helped me to kind of get relaxed again. So a third of the way there. We'll go to the next slide, Holly. Thank you. The right perspective makes the impossible possible. So again, it's the way we view things. You know, if your glasses are showing you that nothing's possible, I'm never going to succeed again, this is not going to work, you got to change those pair of glasses, right? And sometimes perspective is informed by the people that surrounds us. So you may need to go and find some positivity influencers, you know, more positive friends. And I always say, you know, when you look at the people that are surrounding you, are they fertilizers, things that help you grow and encourage you, or are they weeds, things that suffocate the good, the oxygen? You come with a great idea, you knock it down. You find every excuse why it won't work. That can affect your perspective. So important. Another strategy, be mindful of how those you surround yourself with can also influence your perspective. We want positive people. And if you can't physically find them, you know, go online, social media, InTouch Wellness, you know, our Instagram, every day, positive quotes, something positive Mrs. O is putting up there because we need that in this world. It has been tough for many of us in different ways. It'd be prior to the pandemic, and then we had the pandemic on top of that. It's been challenging. So we don't need negativity. We don't need weeds. We need fertilizers. We need positive things. So be aware of what you're allowing yourself to be fed with around yourself. So you need positivity. Next slide. Prayer. Of course, this is going to come up for me. And when I think about the impossible and situations that we never thought would happen 14, 15 months ago, who would think we would be walking around with masks? There will be this invisible threat that people would be dying, 500,000 plus here in the United States and across the world. So it's so important in this time of challenge, even people that I knew not to be even believe in God in some way, they found some sort of faith in this time, and we're actually praying, and studies actually support that in this pandemic time. Those people that didn't really pray or didn't really believe in that higher power were actually praying in some way in this time. So prayer is a relationship and conversation between you and your higher power, and I like to call him God. And it's just something powerful when we pray. And I just want to pray for everyone now. God, I just ask that you are with us through these challenging times and journeys, and that you will give us the strength, the hope, the faith, and see us through this time, a better season. Amen. Just like that. And prayer has been found to actually decrease levels of anxiety, fear, people. Statistically significant. So prayer works. Prayer works. Next slide. With God, all things are possible. Okay, I'm going to stop having church here, but just a reminder, whatever you decide to focus on, make sure it's a big boulder and rock, something you can stand on, that you believe in, that will help you through this journey, through this season of difficulty. Next slide. Stay connected. That's what we're doing here. Hey, everyone. Hey, Holly, we're staying connected. We're all, and everyone that's called in, we're staying connected. It's so important. When we face challenging times, we can find ourselves wanting to isolate, and that's not good for our mental health. It actually can start to increase things like depression and anxiety and make those things worse. So it has been proven that staying connected is so important to helping us to getting through those times without having certain type of mental health breakdowns even. Okay, so yes, I know that we can't hug each other or do some of those things that we're used to. Go sit down and have coffee at the, some of us, like the Starbucks or Panera Bread. We can't do so much of that, but we can still stay connected. Next slide will speak to some ideas of staying connected, right? Virtual catch up tea or coffee. Hey, I don't know if some of you guys are doing that already, but you know, virtually, as we're doing today, using this platform to help you still stay connected to those that you care about. Religious gatherings. I know my church, Connect Church, our pastor was able to just transition into virtual, so we could still stay connected and have that support. Um, Book clubs, I'm a part of a Lexington book club. It's virtual. It started in this pandemic time. So these are ideas. And the other one, group wellness, virtually. I have a wellness group with a couple of ladies, and we kind of use it as a time to vent and encourage each other in our health journeys and working out. Two of them have lost like 100 pounds. By themselves through their lifestyle. So I'm like, wow, I need to get this COVID weight off. These are the people I need to connect to, right? Hello, they know what they're doing. So, and plus they're just great people, and we encourage each other in the faith. So I actually have a wellness group meeting with them tonight at 6. One or two of them may be on now. Local organizations like the Commerce, plug in. Sometimes, even as I was preparing for this, I was like, oh my gosh, the Commerce has so much going on, and Holly's always emailing. I need to pay attention to this. So I did sign up for a networking thing, next week. There are local groups that are there to support us through this time, but we have to tap in. So there's no excuse to not stay connected in some way, even virtually, right? So next slide. Free community empowerment call, plugging in InTouch Wellness. We do this every other Wednesday. It's a call that is free. This is a part of the service we give in our calling and purpose to everyone. It's open. Follow us at InTouch Wellness line to get the Zoom link. It's through Zoom. And we talk about different topics to help us along our journey of wellness, spiritual wellness, mental wellness, social wellness. Our next call is March 10th. We'll be talking about imposter syndrome. What is that? The fact that we have feelings of doubt about our achievements and who we are, even when we're more than qualified, right? There's just that negative self-talk and doubt that still exists. So we want to talk about strategies on helping us work through that, so we can be more confident and walk in our purpose and calling with more confidence. So join us March 10th. Next slide. Every step counts. How many of us know we didn't come out the womb running? I hope that wasn't you, because I pray for your mom if you did, right? We come out as an infant, and we get fed, we get nurtured, then we get to a place where now we're crawling, right? And we're trying to take our first step, and then we're walking, then we're running, you know. Those of you that may be restarting or in this, rebuilding stage, no matter what it may be family, it may be your business. It's important that you have compassion and patience with yourself and know that you got to start one step at a time. And it can be frustrating, but you're going to have to tap into that patience with yourself. We can't do it all in one day, as they say, right? Rome wasn't built in a day, but you're going to get there. But each step counts. So strategy, be persistent. If you're going to make one step a day to get to your destination, make sure you make that one step. If it's 3 steps, make sure you make those 3 steps. But sometimes you may come short. And in those moments, be patient with yourself. Self-compassion, a big thing you may be hearing this say. Showing the same compassion for yourself that you would another person. We don't do it as self. Isn't that crazy? The same way that we treat others with so much compassion and empathy, some of us aren't doing it for ourselves. So I encourage you, as you're taking that step forward, be patient with yourself, show yourself self-compassion, kindness, celebrate the wins, and look forward to rebuilding. You will get there. You got there before, and if you haven't gotten there before, you will get there. You will get there and turn around and say, wow, look at where I'm at now. I did it. I did it. One step at a time. Next slide. Don't be afraid to ask for help. How many type A personalities are there out there? Hello? Or people that like to be in a driver's seat all the time. Just teasing, but honestly, there is some truth there. It's important that we realize no matter how much information you know, or how many degrees you have, or how educated, or how many years you have under your belt, we still need help. So I'm encouraging you, just eat some humble pie. And again, the people I'm talking to right now, maybe you've eaten the humble pie, and that's awesome, right? But we know how it can be if you're in that place where you're like, I know it all. I don't want them to think that I don't know what I'm doing. Some of that imposter syndrome kind of coming in. So you don't ask, and you sit there and you battle with yourself. That's horrible. That's uncomfortable. I've been there at a time in my life. And I'm just saying to just relax and ask for help. Can someone help me? I need help. And I think it's important because people are willing to help, but there's a stigma out there about asking for it. So I'm here to kick the butt of that stigma, especially in a time when we've never been here before. We've never been here before. So it's important that we ask for help. People want to help us, but we need to open our mouths, stop battling with ourselves, and ask for help. It has nothing to do with what you know and what you don't know. It has to do with you just simply don't know what you need to know in that moment. It's not defining of who you are. Don't let it question your value, right? Or your worth. It's a beautiful thing when we can ask for help. And there's been times when I've had to ask for help, and it's been the most blessed times in my life, because when people want to help you, they will really help you go a long way with that. And it's always a blessed thing. So the only key I would say, ask the right person for help. Right? So, okay, if you're trying to, I don't know, build, a building, and and do some things. You don't want to ask possibly the hairstylist, right, for help, right? I'm just joking, but we want to ask people that we know and hope would have some resources. And those of us connected to the commerce here, let's call Holly. Let's find some help, in surviving this challenging time with the pandemic, especially as a small business or whatever it may be. There's help out there. We just simply need to ask. Next slide. Okay, celebrating your success, no matter how small. You've seen me do this a couple of times, and that action alone is just so important to making you feel like you've achieved something. So I always say to people, when we're going through an emotionally challenging time, it's important that your to-do list becomes, goes from 10 to about 5, right? Because your energy level may be decreased, your minds may be harmed. You may be going through, again, a grief process or getting through something difficult, loss of a job, loss of something. It's important in those days, especially, that you celebrate even the little wins. So this is a great thing that I would recommend. Have a to-do list and then have a success list, right? So um, I started doing that in this pandemic time, and it's been so awesome. So it's like, I don't have this long to-do list, and then, I look at the ones I didn't check and I'm feeling like, oh my God, you've done nothing. You're unproductive right now. So, but when I have my success list, I'm like checking it. I'm like, look at me, I did this. Even if it's 2 or 3 things, it's just a list devoted to what you did. And I say to that list, yes, you showed up, you did this. I know it sounds weird and funny, but it works. We have to encourage ourselves even for the smaller things in life, because our brain does receive that well. Okay. So just try it. Have a success list and celebrate showing up even today. This is noon. I know many of us are busy and lunchtime and all of that. Celebrate that. Celebrate getting up and showing up for yourself and your family. Celebrate it. Next slide. Change your perspective, change your life. Just the theme of everything I've been speaking to. I don't have to speak much more to that, but the way we see a thing, or the way our thoughts make us see it, so powerful, so important that we recycle out the negative, right? I always say to people, studies show that for every one negative, you have to boot it out and recycle it out with 5 positives. Yes, I hate that ratio as well, but that is how it is. So you want to have some sort of way of keeping the positivity going in your life, no matter how you do it. It may be through books, it may be through devotions, it may be your spiritual books, whatever works for you. But the point is, you want to recycle out the negative, because it's up there, and it tries to really play a role in these challenging times, and it will change your life. We change our life by changing the moments and the days, right? So you start doing those things across days. Give yourself 3 months. I always say 3 months is a powerful time, to get to a lifestyle for something and see its true effect on your life. So it's worth it. Change your perspective, change your life. It's true. Next slide. Ginsburg, may her soul rest in peace, Supreme Court. The quote says, so often in life, things that you regard as an impediment turn out to be a great, good fortune, right? So just some wisdom of pearls there. It's so important. As I ask you all, what has actually been, I guess if I could say it, a positive thing from the pandemic time? I know for me, not enjoying the long commutes to DC was wonderful to not have to do that. Decrease in my dry cleaning bill, and all of those type of things, even spending more time with family. Although I know for some of us, we're like, okay, I've spent enough time with family. The kids are home, everyone's home. But, some of those things for me, rather than see it as an impediment, was actually a blessing, because you don't get that time back with family. You don't get that time back with your children. So again, That's perspective talking, right? So important. So I ask you, or you can put in the chat, what's something that, has actually been a good thing for you in this pandemic time? Anything? Anything in the chat there for you? You guys can write in the chat. I can see it here. Spending more time with family, okay? Increased ability to work out. Yeah, yeah. So good, so good. So it's so important that in the midst of a challenging thing, and it's not first nature. That's why we're talking about it, to then think about, okay, how increasing online presence. Michael T. Brown. Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know what Zoom was before this pandemic. No idea. Maybe, you know what? I might have been invited to one thing with Zoom um, prior to the pandemic, but now we all have it, right? Even those of us that don't like technology, you have to learn it, right? So learning more, right? Spending time home with my new baby. Wonderful. Exactly. This is beautiful. That's good. That's good. Yeah. So let's see the fortune in that, because that baby is changing every single day. And now you don't have to miss it because you've had more time with her, right? That baby. So family, time is just going. And it's those memories that you're developing now, even when they get in your nerves, um, you know, you don't get that time back. So family's really important to me and our team. So, maximize this time, maximize this time with those you love. Next slide, Holly. When one door closes, another opens. So important to realize in challenging times and just through life in general. Sometimes we spend so much time literally banging our heads on this closed door, trying to like break it down, when it's simply that chapter has closed for you. And I get it. It's super hard. I've been there and it hurts and it's frustrating. But I encourage you again to think of the quote we started with, right? Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. An open door is going to come for you. That's going to be just for you. It's going to be perfect for you. But if you're so busy looking, right? We don't have eyes behind our head. You're so busy looking and focused on this closed door, there may be an open door right here. Maybe you have amazing peripheral vision. I don't know. Maybe you'll see it, right? But you can't walk through two doors at one time, right? You want to be prepared for your open door, is my point. So go through your transition and coping with the closed door. But I always say to people, oh, my assignment and time is up here. There's something new for me to do. And did I have that perspective at 20? No, I did not. It came through time and it was informed through my faith and knowing that all things happen for, reason, and that there's an expected future for me. That's perspective again, but another good door will open for you. But you got to stop looking at that closed door because it's closed. It's closed. Next slide. Oh, we're making our way. I think, 2/3 of the way here. Peace. We're letting everything we've talked about just marinate in our brain and our hearts, right? So take it in. This is beautiful. I want to go to this place. Man, look at that water. Nature's wonderful, isn't it? So sometimes I just look at photos like this. YouTube is just so awesome. They have 10-hour relaxation music and different things like that. Take some time and enjoy the moment. You can go to the next slide. Do you react or do you respond? Which picture is you here, people, right? Maybe you're one or the other some of the time, which is more along the lines of human nature, right? Those people with higher emotional intelligence tend to be more of the response. And that's my encouragement today. Our emotions will, somebody said in the middle, yeah, our emotions can misguide us. They're beautiful gifts, but we can act out of them and walk away and regret, right? So it's important that in this time of challenge or difficulty, that we are quick to think about what we're going to say before we just quickly react, right? We want to make a response that's not going to burn bridges, that's not going to cause enmity between us and whoever it may be. It may be a family member. Again, especially in this time, kids are home, you're virtual learning, you're working as well. You and the spouse are home. You're just like, oh my God, is this really who you are? Right? Like, because before everyone's going to work and you're spending more time at work than at home, and all these different emotions are coming through. It's so easy to find yourself towards the left of my screen, like reacting, someone triggering you, right? But it's so important that we know we don't get back what we put out there. So we want to just make sure whatever may come before us, that we respond well. We respond well and not burn a bridge, because again, you may be called to go back into the same door, and an opportunity may open, and you don't want to have reacted in a way that has now ended a relationship, or business or personal. So important in difficult times to try our best to not react, but instead respond. Emotional intelligence, exactly. Someone brought that up. So people, again, found to have higher emotional intelligence, they actually respond, right? So, I mean, this is not going to make you feel better if someone's berating you and just saying really horrible things to your boss or a family member. You saying, you know what, I'm going to respond to you because I have higher emotional intelligence. I mean, I'm just being funny about it, but my point is, when they go low, you go high. And I think that might be our next slide. Holly, we go to the next slide. Yes, Michelle Obama. And she was talking more so to the idea of bullying. I think she had a speech that she shared at the Democratic convention. And she was just emphasizing the point, I don't need to get as low as you're getting. I'm going to always remain high. And this is high as in I'm responding to you. I'm not going to react and be as nasty and as ugly, whatever it may be that you're being. And she really was focusing this on the idea of bullying. And I'm saying to you, whatever negative energy you may have around you, again, it may be at the place of work, a boss that doesn't realize that you can't do 100 times in 100 things in 1 minute, whatever it is, always choose to go high. Going low is just, it's it's messy, it's dirty, and it comes with its consequences that we may not like. It's not worth it. So let's go high. Let's go high. Next slide. Crying. I was going to say, crying has actually been found to be statistically benefit actually for us. And I'm not saying you're crying all day, throughout the day, hours on end. That will concern me for major depressive disorder. But I'm saying a good cry. When did you last have a good cry? You know, I want to just, as someone that has worked in the mental health field, I'm saying to you, give yourself permission to cry. A good cry has been shown to help us to decrease anxiety, help us with our emotions, even our eyes, kind of kill the bacteria and all of that, produce, killing the toxins and so forth. And it just kind of gives you this release. Because sometimes we're so built up, so many things going on in our lives. You're built up. It's healthy to have a cry every now and then. And I get what you're saying, possibly have all these people around me. Am I going to just start crying in front of my children no, right? We want to find a safe place because people will then now be concerned, is mommy or daddy depressed? If you want to experience allowing yourself to cry, find a safe place. For some people, it's in the shower, actually, where, or in the bathroom or going into their car. But just allow yourself to release some of those emotions you didn't even know were there. You just feel it building up. And don't believe the lie that men don't cry. And don't believe that crying has to do with weakness, because it's the opposite. When you can allow yourself to just cry and release, it's emotional wellness. And that is emotionally intelligent to me. That's mental health care. It's self-care. So don't be afraid to cry. And this quote says it's okay to cry, right? When there's too much on your mind. Even the clouds rain. Even the clouds rain when things get too heavy. I loved it. And it's true. We're human beings. We were made with these tears for a reason and emotion, and allow yourself to release emotional wellness. Have a good cry now and then, every now and then. Okay. Next slide. Now, if you, so here are some of the benefits: relief of stress, boosting mood, easing pain. I didn't talk about that one, and removing toxin. Okay. So next slide. But if you're someone that, and I know I kind of jumped to suicide, if you're someone that really is finding yourself not being able to control your crying, having thoughts about death and so forth, this is considered a mental health emergency. And there's help out there. There's help out there. And I've been doing some of this work again the past 10 years with great team of people. And there's people there to help you, because we may be looking at a major depressive disorder. Mental health is real. How many of us know that, right? No one's going to blame you for having a broken leg. So why should you feel bad about being depressed? The good thing is there's treatment out there. There's great medications. There's great psychotherapy. There's great coping skills, all those factors that can help you work through those emotions. So I take this very seriously. Um, this is a national suicide prevention hotline. It's a lifeline, as they call it, 1-800-273-TALK, 8255. And this is their website as well down here. Use it, please. Emotional pain can get really bad when we feel like, some people have said they feel like just not being here, but it's not that they want to kill themselves, right? It's just the pain is so bad. And I understand you and I empathize with you, but I also encourage you to know there's people like myself and other people out there in this world that are committed to helping you through that depressive disorder episode, through whatever it may be. There's hope. There is hope. We are here. Even if you're in emotional distress, these great individuals, 24/7 confidential, they're trained to help you with emotional distress and also provide resources to you in your local area. So please screenshot this number if you know someone that may even be battling with this. Um, I make sure my patients have this on speed dial, have it in their phone, because it happens. We want to prevent suicide. When I say it happens, thoughts of death, emotional pain, it's real. It's out there. Next slide. Therapy resources, wonderful. BetterHelp, many of us have heard of that, betterhelp.com. If you need, you can kind of select the therapist you're looking for, couples, individual, maybe for, a younger person. So you can put all your specifications there. They'll ask you a list of questions. And then Brown's Leadership Consulting, LLC, amazing, amazing consulting company that has been amazing with any clients that I have, referred out, that I have found that they really need a therapist and they may not be ready for coaching in this moment. He's been a great, 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 great company and great resource for my clients and many others, family and friends. So great, great person there, great team. So please, Brown's Leadership Consulting. I have to, I guess you can Google him, but it's a great, 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 great company. Michael Brown is the leader of that. So you'll see his name there and you'll learn more information. The point is there's help there, and therapy is awesome. I have a therapist. My husband and I have a couples therapist. I'm very transparent about that, because guess what? Me that works in the mental health on the psychiatry side, as a therapist, yes, I do. And guess what? I'm happy about that, because that means I'm working through my stuff, right? And we all have stuff, that comes with life. So we can be better individuals, better mothers, better, spouses, better professionals, whatever it is, right? Better, having a therapist makes me a greater transformational life coach, a greater, mental health consultant. It just makes me better across the board. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Better Help and Brown's Leadership Consulting information. Next slide. And then coaching, if you find in this time of reset that you need help with figuring out what direction do I go to. In this pandemic, I figured out that, some people may have figured out, this is not for me. I'm figuring out more of what's important to me, but I don't know what direction to go. I have been there. Coaching is what brought me to transformational life coaching. And that's why I have this butterfly here. It's not just because I wear these huge butterflies on my shirt and blouse, but it's particularly for today to remind me that I'm about transformation. That's my calling and purpose. And I didn't realize that until I sat down with a life coach. I kind of knew there was more than doing work within the psychiatric field that I was called to do. I mean, I was doing it along the way without knowing it. But when I sat with the coach, everything came together. Everything became clear. And voila, InTouch Wellness, where we coach people, we journey with people and help people to self-improve. How many of us know we need to work on ourselves some of the time and we can't do it on our own? Again, that goes to asking for help. So this is our information, our contact information. We have a great, amazing team of people with amazing backgrounds. So our curriculum gets results and we want to be here to help you. And even if you don't choose InTouch Wellness, find a coach if you need it, if you're ready. It's just important to know help is out there and resources are out there. If you want to achieve your goal or walk down a new journey, it's good to have some help. So our motto is to put a demand on your potential. Again, the numbers here, and that's the email and our Instagram. Next slide. Laughter. We talked about crying. Now we're talking about laughing. Yes. As I mentioned before, put on the comedy, there's some people that just love the thrillers and I get it, but through difficult times, you may want to put on something that is lightening your mood and making you laugh. And it's not just to be like, ha 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 all the time, but there's actually statistical benefits to helping our mood with laughter. You actually burn calories laughing. You see all these people laughing. It's just wonderful to see people laughing. It makes you want to laugh too, right? I don't know if that had that effect on you, but laughter is a universal language. Smiling is so powerful. And I know we're walking around with masks, but we can smile with our eyes too. Some people look super mean sometimes. And you're just like, is it the mask or is it them? So I always try and be intentional and smile with my eyes, because we miss that part, of the human connection because of the mask, but which we have to do for our safety. But my point is laugh more, laugh more. Next slide. Laughter is strong medicine, right? Some of the things, it stops the stress and emotions, the anger, the sadness. It helps you relax and recharge, shifts your perspective. In some cases, a humorous perspective, which is good sometimes for our psychological health, because sometimes some things are so intense that just, a laughter or a joke, some perspective about it can just kind of relieve you of this, I don't know, psychological pain. It helps diffuse a conflict and it draws you closer to others. Okay. You could even do a Zoom, movie thing where, everyone's watching the same movie and laughing together. So you can actually see people without masks laughing and, rejoicing. There's options now, but laughter is strong medicine. It is definitely true. Next slide. Goals don't work unless we do. How many of us know that that's true? We can desire and dream to do so many things, but it doesn't happen unless we put in the work. We put in the hustle. So I encourage you, create those goals and then have a plan to achieving those goals so that you can see yourself getting closer to your goal, your end result, right? So I always say to people, strategy, decide, commitment, results. That's the success part. Make a decision, Commit to that decision. You'll see results. Commitment, we can talk about that all day. What does that look like? Hard work. Hard work. How am I doing on time, Holly? I'm at 102. I know we started a little later. I have so many slides. I may need to
We
come down.
thanks, Dr. K. We should be wrapping this up.
Okay. So can you go to the next slide? I may have to really push forward. Time for you, so important. I always say, stop scheduling just everyone else. As I was telling you every morning, when you say I'm showing up for me, also jot that down on your to-do list. Time for me. Me time is what I call it. And during me time, what do you have to do? Whatever you want to do. You can just be sitting there and looking at the sun. You know, it's up to you, but me time is so healthy, part of self-care. Okay, next slide. We talked about this already, the 5-to-1 ratio. Next slide. Perspectives, right? So this goes back to perspective, right? 4 letters. Hate has 4 letters, but so does love. Enemies has 7 letters, but so does friends. So our perspective is so important. Choose the positive energy. Choose the love over hate. Choose the friends over enemies. Choose the truth over lying. Next slide. What things have you? Okay, we talked about that. Next slide. Courage. Yes. Step into your courage. I'm here to say to you and just to remind you, you've been through tough times and you're tougher. Step into the courage. You may be uncomfortable, but you will make it through this because you have the courage of a lion inside of you. So don't give up. Keep going. Step into your courage. It's like using a muscle, right? Use that muscle of courage. Next slide. Yeah, you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. And some of us have been in that place many times before. And guess what? You've been strong. You've made it through that situation. Next slide. Hold on to your vision. Hold on to your vision, right? Trust the process. Process for everything. Trust it. There's no overnight success. But hold on to your vision, what you see and what you desire as we're wrapping up. Next slide. Hope I'm close to the wrap up. When everything seems against you, remember the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. Next slide. I'm trying to end it. Last thing today, I'm grateful for. Gratefulness, so good and so important in our lives. Don't focus on what's going bad or what's going wrong. Try and hold on to what is going really well. Holly, you can fast forward it, I guess, towards the end, because I know I had some bonus slides. Compassion, we talked about that. Yeah, so good. I want to read this out to people, and I'm going to end here. Don't Quit by John Greenleaf Whittier. No one can see this, just you. I'm sorry, I got something in the chat. I don't know. Can everyone see this? Okay. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the depths are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure comes about. When he might have won, and had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silverton of the clouds of the doubt, and you never can tell just how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far, so stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you, Holly. Never give up. Ready for 2021. I hope you are going home in your day with strategies on how to manage challenging times. For those of you that are interested in a free coaching offer of consultation, email us, let us know you're connected to the Commerce, you were at the Commerce program, and that offer for consultation will be free. So we would love to journey with you as you work through this challenging time towards your success. Hold on to your vision and never give up. Thank you, Holly.